Those magnificent globies and their toy collections deny indemonstrable reality as they go, 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 go. Sorry, bear with me. First up, we got my mate, Sci Physics Says So Man Dan. Dan is a huge fan of this channel. You could say he's a little bit obsessed, almost making a video nearly every week about me. Never providing any demonstrable science because he can't, because the globe's impossible. Dan is forced to defend space propaganda. And after his attempt at defending space propaganda, Dan bizarrely claims that demonstrable reality has failed. Remember, I don't claim to be a flat earther or any map or model. I'm simply a demonstrable realist, which means I stand by science which can be tested and verified by all, the results of which prove the globe scientifically impossible. So it's bizarre that Dan goes online almost on a weekly basis, putting himself out there, claiming that he's defeated demonstrable reality by attempting to defend space propaganda. But of course, the root cause is there for us all to see. We look in the bottom corner of Dan's room, and of course, Dan suffers from the same traits that all these online globe representatives, or many of them, do. Essentially, they're grown men that play with toys. It's crazy. Not only that, it's grown men that play with toys who are going online to tell you reality is exactly the opposite to what can be tested and verified by all. Dan's got the full repertoire of delusional nonsense in his room here. He's got his Lego spacecraft, which I believe he built live in some 8-hour epic, which had his subs on the edge of their seat. He's got the James Webb cartoon to his right. And of course, he's got a straw man map misrepresentation of the flat earth up on his shelf. Dan ticks all the boxes of a propagandist. Love him. Then you got this character, Magoon, a middle-aged man that plays with, you guessed it, toys. Got toy rockets, toy globes. This guy's got the full repertoire of delusional tosh. He's even got the article about the moon landing. Again, another globe representative, a middle-aged man that plays with toys that wants to tell you reality is exactly the opposite to what can be tested and verified by all. I dread to think what that guy gets up to in that room with them rockets when the camera's not on. Oh dear. And now we've got Scott Manley. Now, Scott's a space nerd, and I'm not going to knock him. Scott does love a good firework display, and unfortunately for Scott, buys into all the silliness that follows the firework display. I had an interaction with Scott many years ago, and I actually found him quite respectful, decent, and at the time he was inquisitive regarding someone like myself. This was a long time ago. We had quite an interesting conversation. But Scott is stuck in his beliefs, and again shows you what these older guys who believe in space are about. They essentially haven't let their childhood go. They're still trapped in this childhood mindset that's been put there by fantasy from the television. And now we got Captain Sensible, another middle-aged man that plays with toys. The captain here is building his own space station. Bless him. And he's again another guy that represents things online that are scientifically impossible. And in his spare time, he plays with toys. If you can't see the problem with the globe and the people that represent it by now, then there's probably no hope for you, I'm afraid to say. Look, another online globe representative. Teddy bears. A toy globe. A toy spaceship. May, no amount of toys is ever going to change the fact that globe's scientifically impossible. You can't have an air pressure system, your globe Earth, residing in the middle of a vacuum, space, without some kind of solid separation. It's a fact. Large standing bodies of water do not have the ability to display convexity upon its surface. Another scientific demonstrable fact. And tower cranes and pendulums do not have the ability to be dead still and plumb whilst doing ludicrous speeds in 4 different directions. Again, another scientific demonstrable truth, all of which prove the globe is scientifically impossible. Gravity doesn't cut it. No one denies there's a downward vector. But what's quite obvious about the downward vector is it's not man enough to entertain the silliness that is the globe, because gravity can be overcome by a gentle breeze, and therefore isn't man enough to change the molecular structure of large standing bodies of water. It's not man enough to hold a tower crane dead still and plumb whilst doing ludicrous speeds in 4 different directions. And of course, it's not man enough to separate an air pressure system from a vacuum, because it can be overcome by a gentle breeze. Which is why the people that represent these scientifically impossible things online like the globe are grown men that generally play with toys. Ugh, dear.